Ghana in the 1990s, a nation in transition. After years of military rule, the winds of democracy were blowing again. At the helm was the charismatic and formidable Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, and by his side, as his vice president, was a man chosen to bring stability and credibility, Ekow Nkensen Arkaah. But this partnership, meant to unify a nation, would soon explode in one of the most dramatic and public confrontations in African political history. This is the story of the vice president who dared to say no to the most powerful man in the country. Who was Ekow Nkensen Arkaah before he entered the political storm? Born in 1927, he was the epitome of the Ghanaian elite intellectual. An old boy of Mfantsipim School, he excelled at the University of Ghana and earned a prestigious degree from Harvard University in the United States. His career was built on expertise, not populism. He rose through the ranks of the Bank of Ghana and became a respected executive in the financial sector. He was a technocrat, a man of numbers, principles, and quiet dignity. He was not a natural politician, and that would become both his greatest strength and his ultimate undoing. In 1992, Jerry Rawlings, transitioning from military leader to civilian president, needed a running mate who could reassure the business community and the educated elite. He needed a safe pair of hands. Ekow Arkaah, with his impeccable credentials and lack of a controversial political past, seemed the perfect choice. They won in a landslide. But from the beginning, the partnership was a marriage of convenience. Rawlings, the revolutionary man of the people, and Arkaah, the conservative economist. It was a coalition of two different Ghanas, and the cracks began to show almost immediately. Vice President Arkaah quickly found himself sidelined. He was excluded from key decision making processes, and his economic advice was often ignored. He watched as the government he was a part of pursued policies he fundamentally disagreed with. The tension wasn't just personal, it was ideological. Arkaah felt the principles of good governance and fiscal responsibility he stood for were being compromised. The dignified vice president was becoming a figurehead, and his frustration was turning into silent, simmering resentment. Then, in 1995, the silence broke. At a public event in the town of Swedru, Vice President Arkaah did the unthinkable. He openly denounced President Rawlings. In a stunning rebuke, he accused the president of incompetence, of fostering a culture of intimidation, and of running a government that was a total failure. The political establishment gasped. In Ghanaian culture and in politics anywhere, such a public humiliation of one's superior was unprecedented. The Swedru Declaration was not just a criticism, it was a declaration of war. The Rawlings Arkaah partnership was dead. The fallout was swift. Rawlings stripped Arkaah of all his remaining powers. They ran on the same ticket in the 1996 election in a forced, deeply awkward partnership and won, but the relationship was irreparable. Arkaah would later resign and form his own party, the National Convention Party, but he never regained his former political stature. Jerry Rawlings and the NDC remained in power. So, what is the legacy of Ekow and Nkensen Arkaah? He is remembered not for a long, successful tenure, but for a single, courageous, or reckless act of defiance. He shattered the myth of a unified executive and demonstrated that principle could trump power. He became a symbol of resistance against authoritarian tendencies, a reminder that even the highest office must be held to account. Ekow Nkensen Arkaah passed away in 2001. But the story of his stand remains a powerful chapter in Ghana's Fourth Republic. It's a story about the clash between revolution and protocol, between charisma and principle. In the end, Arkaah's name is forever etched in history, not for the power he held, but for the power he gave up by refusing to be silent. It's been years since Arkaah's stand, but his actions still make us think about our leaders. Huh? Yeah, whenever I hear about some political showdown, I think back to Swedru. It's not just history, it's a lesson. And so, Arkaah's actions changed the political conversation in Ghana. Can anyone tell me why it's important today? Because he showed that standing up for what's right, even when it costs you everything, is vital for democracy.